So after 2 minutes, people were remembering about 8 out of the 20 things that we asked them about on the memory test. And by the time it got to 20 minutes later, that figure had fallen by 28%. So people had forgotten, in the space of 20 minutes, about 28% more than they had after 2 minutes. So there's that 28%. Thing is, we were able to break out these numbers by how heavily people use their smartphones. So we can look at people who didn't have smartphones and those who use it only about an hour a day or so. And they actually performed better than average. They forgot less than the average when it came to that particular memory test. When we look at heavier users of smartphones, we found that their scores were much worse. They forgot more in the space of 20 minutes than the average. And in fact, when we look at the heaviest users of smartphones, by the time we got to 20 minutes after the memory test, they'd forgotten almost 80% of what we showed them and asked them to remember. So there's really quite a strong indication there that smartphone use is linked to how we forget and the fact that we forget more quickly. And again, we went back to the EEG work because we wanted to understand what's happening at a neural level, what's happening to the brain to make this occur. So again, thinking back to our EEG with the videos and the skull cap, group up here who were taking photos while they watched the video enjoyed it all a bit more. When we look at the other measure that EEG gives us, concentration, we saw that the first group who were just watching the video were concentrating slightly more than average. Again, they knew there was going to be a test at the end of it. They felt that they wanted to do well at it. And so they were paying attention to the video to make sure they could do well. On the other hand, the group who were taking photos of the video to help them remember were actually paying less attention on the whole. Taking a photo was distracting them from what they were supposed to be doing. And as Steve ended up with, we know that concentration is important because nobody must have been paying attention. We know that concentration is important because how well we remember is linked to how much attention we pay to something. And so we would expect to see that people who pay less attention to the videos are going to perform worse. So this is how well they did in the quiz after they saw the videos. So starting over here with the pink, this is people who just watched the video. And we saw that they did okay. It wasn't great, but they got 50% of the questions right. The second group, who were able to take photos to help them remember and then look at those photos again, did slightly better in the memory test. So looking at the photo helped them remember some of the detail. But we were sneaky though. That second group of people who took photos of the video while they watched it, we didn't let all of them look at the photos they took. So part of that group, we'll call it group 2A, they watched the video, they took their photos, and then when they got to the end of it, we took their phones off them so that they couldn't look at the photos they'd taken. And then we gave them the memory test. And they did significantly worse. As you can see there, they got 43% of the questions right. So they actually did worse. They'd forgotten more than if they hadn't taken a photo at all. And this is a really important distinction, because what we're seeing is that taking a photo helped them remember detail, but it's not the same as memorizing the stimulus that they saw. And when you take away the photos that they took, they're forgetting more than if they hadn't been fiddling with their phones at all.